There was a time when all you had was traditional sales, distribution and marketing channels for your content or product, and of course traditional advertising on print, radio, TV, hoardings and cinema for your publicity. Along came the digital medium and suddenly you had online advertising and a whole new sales and distribution platform and millions of consumers just a click away. Let's take a quick look at some figures. India leapfrogged from 100 million internet users in 2011 to over 300 million this year itself. We are expected to touch 500 million by 2017. The growth in this internet base has come from mobile phones, from 20 million in 2011 to 152 million users accessing the internet over their smartphones. This number is expected to go up to 490 million of the 500 million internet users in the country who will access the internet from their smartphones. Marketers moved from search to display ads and banners to social media and to engagement via content. Online video became a rage, leading to content consumption across multiple devices. The rules of engagement changed. And now, the buzzword is content marketing, which is more than just creating content or recommending articles and videos based on your browsing history. It's the use of a smarter algorithm to ensure that users stay longer and consume more related content, whether it's news, articles, pictures, videos, and even how-to guides. Content marketing is not just about content, but also content strategy, distribution, promotion, and tracking conversions. And while content marketing has evolved in Western, even Asian markets like Japan and China, does India still have a long way to go? That brings us to the big question today. What is the future of content marketing in India? And who better to give us a perspective than the founder and CEO of Taboola, Adam Singolda. Taboola is the world's largest content discovery platform. It's got a strong presence in countries like the UK, Brazil, and other evolved digital markets in Asia, like Japan and China, among others. And now it's got expansion plans in India. We'll talk about how it intends to do that. Vikram Chandra, the group CEO of NDTV. NDTV has always been recognized as a broadcast news company, but it has 700 million page views per month online. The news app has over 11 million downloads, and there are some staggering numbers for its e-commerce ventures. We'll discuss how important content marketing is going to be for publishers like NDTV. How important is content marketing for another publisher, content aggregator and curator Scoopwhoop, that is also creating content? We have Satvik Mishra, co-founder and CEO Scoopwhoop. Giving us the media agency perspective is Hari Krishnan. He is the MD of Zenith Optimedia India. He's also a digital evangelist in an otherwise traditional thinking industry. From the brand side, we have Manav Sethi. He is the CMO, that is the Chief Marketing Officer of AskMe.com. And of course, we have reactions from other big brands throughout the show. So gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on NDTV Profit Prime. Let me start with you, Adam. Why is content discovery so important?
I think we're moving as a generation from a world that people are looking for things to a world that things are looking for people. We used to search for information if we knew what we were looking for, but I think we got to the point that we're not even sure what we're supposed to be looking for. And when you look at the global advertising market, it's about $170 billion a year spent in digital. Half of it is search, half of it is display, which is the banners. We're not clicking so much anymore. And I think there's a new category that's been built we call discovery, which is exactly this search in reverse, whereby information is looking for people. And I think specifically in Asia Pacific, the trend is that it's mostly mobile growth that's coming into the web. And in that format, which is a small screen, so 4.5-inch screen size, content performs so much better, which is a massive opportunity for marketers to reach consumers with messages, with products, with things that they may like and never knew existed.
So Adam, are banner ads dead?
I don't think so. I think they're going to be reinvented in a format that's more targeted, better for consumers. I don't think there's any more room for more and more banners and ads to achieve better yield for the business. I think it's going to be more about less ads, but more effective, more targeted. You have great public companies like Criteo that, worth billions of dollars, that reinvented banners in the forms of retargeting. So that works fabulous. And I think we're going to see more custom types of banners and things that are just provide value to consumers. I think at the end of the day, it's value to consumers that's going to be driving the conversation.
So Vikram, how important is content discovery and really content marketing for a publisher, big publisher like NDTV?
So for those of us who are really bigger publishers, for us to expose our content is relatively easier because we've got that traffic already, 60 million unique visitors a month. And if we want to launch a new site, we can showcase it for them. But where this plays a particularly important role for us, as with our partnership with Taboola, is that it helps us to get a very powerful new revenue stream where we can actually expose other people's content on our site and find a way of monetizing the traffic that we already have. And in that, we are finding, Taboola, for example, is very effective in helping us monetize. So far, we were dependent entirely on finding banner ads or selling our video or doing that ourselves.
Right.
Now, this is a completely new stream that comes inside. And which is complementary to what our own efforts are, and therefore it helps us a lot. So we can then also go on with focusing with one of the most important things, which is just building traffic, building page views, and building communities, which is something that we really do.
Right. Let's move to a relatively new publisher like yourself. Right. Scoop Whoop was established a couple of years ago, and you're playing the game slightly differently, right? A chunk of your content is branded. Right. So give us a perspective on how important content marketing has become.
So I think you have to see it from the point of view that it's getting increasingly difficult for brands to reach out to the 16 to 25-year-old segment in India, and that's the audience that we reach out to. These guys have moved on from TV, right? They only watch TV when there's a live event like a sports match. You give them an ad on YouTube, they'll skip through it. They don't like clicking on display ads. So how do you reach out to this guy, right? And I think that's why content marketing and sponsored stories and branded content becomes a very important part. Today, if you look at Scoop Whoop, right, we're working with over 100 brands. We're executing almost 60 campaigns a month. Even though sponsored content is about 10% of the total content that we do,
right.
But we're seeing that clients are warming up very nicely to the idea of sponsored stories and content marketing.
From the media agency point of view, are they really, or are we still trapped in the impressions game?
I think while a beginning has been made by the likes of Scoop Whoop and Taboola is kind of helping distribute content to relevant audiences, by and large the advertising community, the marketing community, at least the traditional advertisers who have a significant amount of spends, are still relying on the TV metrics of gaining impressions and largely stamping impressions. So the numbers are still viewed in terms of reach. Maybe they just go a bit further to engagement to the extent that people have shared something. But really, it's such a wonderful new digital platform that gives people the ability to embed themselves in a much larger way. And,
right.
and I think brands are just doing, they're just scratching the surface, despite all the possibilities available, because they're still trapped in the impressions mindset.
So do you think that there is a lack of broader metrics there? I mean, how do you, for instance, make up for buzz metrics?
So there are a number of things that is coming in the way of adoption. One is, of course, the lack of a universal metric on buzz. So while there are acceptable metrics on reach and engagement, people don't really know that when you put it on a relevant site where someone's looking at it along, say, through a blogger's eyes, how do you measure that? And how do you actually say that has got you more value than say another blogger? Now, to arrive at that, there aren't universal metrics yet. But having said that, it's a fairly new field. So I'm sure there'll be something made there. But yes, the primitiveness of this or the mindset, which is still at an impression level, is largely to do with the lack of a universal metric.
So perhaps traditional brands and traditional marketing teams are looking at it exactly the same way that they viewed a traditional media, for instance. But newer players, startups, Ask Me, for instance, has pushed the envelope perhaps just a year ago.
That's right.
So again, what metrics are you using?
So I think the singular goal that we are chasing is largely incremental searches and transactions, and we are also encumbered with the notion that search itself has moved from pure play content discovery to something like aggregated opinions, right? People really want serendipity moments to happen when they come to a platform, whether it is for commerce or for search. With this thought, what we started to do was we started to engage the opinion leaders in this space. So, for example, we have churned out videos and content with Rocky and Mayu for food, with Twinkle Khanna for furniture and furnishings,
Yeah.
because largely, you don't want to read reviews from people who you don't know about, and we have seen a significant impact in terms of ROI, and which is measurable in terms of incremental searches, in terms of incremental transactions. And if you look at both from the consumer consumption insight standpoint, when you are watching Deepika Padukone's next hairdo in her latest flick, chances are today technology also allows me to ascertain your social graph and your geography, and that's the time when my algorithms can figure out that there is a Lakme Salon voucher on Waterfield Road in Bandra. You go get a pedicure done, you get a manicure free.
But isn't it true that you're looking at conversions primarily? So it becomes easier for you to generate content that leads to those conversions. For perhaps traditional companies, traditional brands, that's not always the case. I mean, how do you, for instance, relate back to conversions online? For a traditional brand like,
That's
say, for a
right.
soap company.
That's right, or soap, or if you take soft drinks,
Yeah.
or you take anything where the marketing or the sales infrastructure
Right.
or the last mile of what you really want to achieve in terms of business cannot be linked back beyond a point, which is why they continue to use the digital platform in the way that they used to use broadcast, television or radio, or for that matter, print ad. So why do people still, marketers still look at Facebook posts as the press ads that they used to do several years ago? So traditional marketers continue to look at these new mediums in the way that they used to look at traditional mediums.
So I think that equation is yet to be solved end to end, but we have seen certain cases like Coke Studio, for example, where traditional brands have also started to engage their relevant TG, in the form of content creation. And that's where I think they must have seen certain ROIs in terms of either incremental engagement, brand recall, awareness, etc., right? And today, technology also allows for an offline brand to create that return path using any of these new, technologies to measure the impact as well.
That's right. So we are going to continue this conversation after this short break, but have a look at what other brands have to say on content marketing.
Content marketing is one of the core aspects, I would say, when we look at how Zomato executes in marketing. We are a utility app for restaurant discovery and for online food ordering. Users can submit reviews, ratings, photos. How we look at content marketing. So one is, of course, the digital platforms and social media. The second is curated local content on what users can do in and around their area. So it's more of curated collections. Third is data-driven content. That sort of content is very valuable, both from users and also just industry point.
As far as content is concerned, I believe today there is just too much content. 5.5 crore newspapers, that's 55 million newspapers get printed every day. 800 plus channels, thousands of radio stations. So people are getting exposed to a lot of content on a daily basis. So therefore it's important for us to focus on segmented, insightful, targeted messaging. We use this medium to make sure that our core brand message is amplified. Coke Studio is a great example. We started off with the premise of things which don't come together naturally, come together on Coke Studio. It's about fusion. Apart from Coke Studio, brand Sprite also looked at a platform called Sprite Till I Die, where we went to our consumers. It was like crowdsourcing content. So net, it's about creating content which resonates, which amplifies the core DNA of the brand, and the lack of universal metrics is a rhino in the room, right? What I believe needs to be done is for all the stakeholders, be it industry bodies, be it us, the advertisers, even use the consumers who spend a lot of time in the digital medium, and create an unequivocal TRP. But the reality is, I don't think all the stakeholders are on the same page. The way a digital agency or the way a digital company views a universal TRP is very different from how advertising agency or even a advertiser views the universal TRP. So what we need to do is quickly get stakeholders on the same page and have a few difficult conversations.